Hey, everybody, welcome back to another edition of the Security Repo Podcast. As always, I'm your host, Dwayne, and thank you to everybody that likes and subscribes. It does help us out quite a bit, so if you could take a second just to push those buttons down below, wherever you're listening to this, we'd really appreciate it. This week, we have a really awesome guest. Rebekah Skeete is the Chief Operating Officer at BlackGirlsHack and a former senior security engineer. She's passionate about empowering underrepresented communities in cybersecurity, building strong security solutions, and sharing knowledge as a speaker, podcaster, and voiceover artist. Her goal is to inspire others to grow, lead, and thrive in tech. Welcome to the show, Rebekah.
Thank you. Glad to be here.
Well, we met back at RSA, and that was a busy year this year, like 45,000 people at that thing. And I'm very glad that we happened to run into each other.
Of all the people in all the conferences.
It was great to have met you there. And I'm very
Likewise.
for you to be on the show and help our audience understand a little bit more about what your organization does. So let's just start there. Could you give us like the very high level overview of BlackGirlsHack, maybe a little history and your overall mission?
Sure. I'll start with the elevator pitch, and then I'll give you more of a personal response. So, we are a training focused nonprofit that is created to help increase diversity in cybersecurity by helping to bridge the gap between what was taught in educational institutions and what's necessary for careers in cybersecurity. We are one of, but definitely the leading organizations in this space, and endeavor to set the standard for increasing diversity in technology and cybersecurity overall. So that's the hey, party line as to what it is that we do. More specifically, BGH started a few years ago by our founder, Tanisha Martin, who was endeavoring to enter into the cybersecurity space. And she has so many degrees. We often joke about how she has like the entire alphabet behind her name, and was still finding it difficult to enter into the field. There were definitely had the skill and the knowledge, but there was a disconnect between the practice and having those hands-on opportunities to build and be able to present, an understanding between, again, what was taught in schools versus what's needed for careers to gain employment. Because a lot of times people are definitely doing learning and growing in cybersecurity because they're interested, they're an enthusiast, but more often than not, it's because folks are looking to be gainfully employed. So, what Tanisha endeavored to do was document her process of um, making that transition, and start with an Instagram page of her as she would do labs and do different things that she would share her platform for folks to learn alongside her, and it kind of grew organically from there. And as we developed it, the name implies the start, Black Girls Hack. It was a Black girl hacking, and from there we've since grown. In 2020, we got the 501c3 designation, and we've since, reached out to our folks, and when we have town halls and things of that nature, to make sure that the services and programs that we're providing are in line with what our members need. So, the one of the questions that I'll answer right off the bat that a lot of people ask: do I have to be Black girl or hack in order to join? And the answer is no. It's open to all, as long as you're not a jerk. We are we don't allow jerks, but other than that, we're open to everyone who is wanting to level up in cybersecurity. And that includes skills training, mentoring, resume review, and access to low cost resources in an inclusive environment.
Right on. But while it is open to everyone, excluding the jerks, that's a good
Mhm.
policy. The focus is though on hacking. It is the security overall, right?
Yes, so that is the primary goal, but it's not to say that there isn't any resources or opportunities for folks who aren't in hacking or red team or what have you. So we've since broadened it to where primarily it was ethical hacking, red team focused training and resources. Now we have a blue team path, we have a cloud path, we have for folks who are interested in learning more in AI, GRC, DFIR. So, as the interests of our interest and skills of our members have expanded, so have our offerings and
Right
resources.
on. So, what kind of background would you say someone needs, or is there any prereq you would suggest someone to say come to one of your events? Let's say.
Curiosity and an open mind. We don't start at some level where, you have to have XYZ. You already have to be elite hacker in order to participate. The idea is to make sure that it's open and welcome to all for folks who are just now getting started, for folks who have heard that cybersecurity is the future. It's the best way to future proof your career and they don't know where to get started. They are welcome as well. And then we will help train and guide and assist folks in their level up as they grow. But no, you don't have to have XYZ degree or certification. You can start where you are.
That's super important. I talk to a lot of people up and coming. I go to a lot of conferences, have a lot of conversations where people ask me like, how did you get into cybersecurity? And the only true thing I think that's for everyone I've met in cybersecurity is like, well, there's no real traditional background for this. Like you just
Right.
showed up and one day you were in security. And
Yeah.
more recently, I've met people that actually have security degrees, but that's rare. And I think that message needs to be out there more of like, hey, if you want to do security stuff, there is a path for you. So thank you very much for helping people understand that and get there.
Yeah. But the curiosity part and a willingness to learn, those are quote unquote soft skills. Or also, I've also heard it recently referred to as power skills, but that is very important because you will have to read, learn, investigate, things of that nature. So there needs to be at least a willingness. As long as there's a willingness and a desire to learn and grow, then everything else can be taught.
Absolutely. Again, don't be a jerk.
Yeah.
Willing to put the work in.
Right.
Awesome. So I'm curious because I did look at your site and I see events, and my brain immediately thinks of in-person events. So,
Mhm.
or is it a mixture? Do you have in-person events? Do you have online events? What does these events look like?
Yeah, so it is a mixture. Primarily, the majority of our events are online, so that folks aren't limited by location in order to participate or attend. And we have folks all over the country and a few across the world. So yes, the majority of things are online, but then we also have some events in person. So, like situations where for RSA, we'll go to these conferences and events, and we'll do meetups and things there. For the fact that a lot of people are already traveling for the conference, so it makes sense to meet there. Um, but we are planning to do more bespoke, independent in-person meetups as well, because while it is good to have virtual connections, in-person events are fantastic as well, just for people to make that person-to-person connection. One of our largest in-person events is SquadCon, which is our annual conference we have in Vegas in August. It's the same week as Hacker Summer Camp, where DEF CON, Black Hat, Diana Initiative, and SquadCon is that Tuesday and Wednesday of the 5th and the 6th.
That's crossing over besides Las Vegas, I
Mhm.
think. Nice, nice, nice. So the other thing I saw and visited on your website was your labs section. Uh, Maybe you could tell us just quick high level, like why labs?
So specifically on the website right now, that labs tab is um, there is a workshop that our CISO, Dr. Elise McGowan, and our founder, Tanisha Martin, they did an offensive security lab at RSA, and it was to help folks work through how they can leverage AI. I believe the hacking chat buddy was the thing that they leveraged in there. But anyway, it's always good when you can learn things and hear about them in theory, but when you can put your hands on and get active involvement, and then also have feedback from the people who have been working on it. Both of them are researchers. And to get that live feedback of, I'm working through this thing, I have guidance from folks who know what they're doing to help guide me along, the better, because it always, some people learn by just reading, but a lot of people learn by doing. And so that's the benefit there. We want to make sure that people have as many opportunities to work through what it is that they've learned, or learn something new and work through it to help gain. So that's for that specific. If anyone goes to the website and sees that labs tab specifically, that's what that was in regards to. But in general, we have Friday night labs, and that's for folks who have never built a home lab, or they again have heard things in theory, but they haven't done them in action or in practice. And so each Friday night, that's a give an opportunity for them to kind of flex that muscle and get those reps.
Oh, that's rad. And is that all skill levels? Do you have to have like taken one of those classes or workshops to?
All skill levels. The idea was for it to be drop in because, the nature of a lot of folks, especially if they're career transitioners, they have uh, conflicts and things in competition for their time. And so while some folks will be able to attend things regularly, some people are able to attend as they can based on their schedule. And so it kind of has a format to where, regardless of where you are, regardless of how often you attend, you should be able to join and gain something from that event.
Right on. Training is a huge part of the mission, and that's
Mhm.
obvious when you jump over to the site. So maybe there's a lot of options out there. Let's put it that way for
Yeah.
getting out and getting cybersecurity training at this point. Or if you got the money, of course, you're going to go to SANS. But
Right.
for the rest of us, we're probably going to do something online. So, what's the quick why this program? Like, what is it that sets you apart that you would think, hey, this is one for me?
So, yeah, you mentioned SANS. We actually have partnered with SANS, and one of the scholarships that we have provided has SANS training as part of it. So, the benefit of joining BGH is there are some folks who know exactly what they want to do, they just need help getting there. We can assist with that. There are some folks who have no idea what they want to do. They just know they want to be in cybersecurity. And so it's good to be part of a group where other folks are working and sharing the things that they're working on and help guide and give resource. Um, and then there are some folks who are already they already have gotten their cybersecurity role or what have you, but they have been in a junior level role and they want to level up, they want to upskill or whatever. Here's a good place to join. So, Black Girls Hack is a community support group in addition to being a training organization. So one, we leverage all of the like CompTIA. We have the official, some of our instructors or official trainers or what have you. And so you can have support for Security Plus if that's what your path is. We have a partnership with Destination Certification for those who have done those 5 years and who are wanting to take their CISSP, and we can point them in that regard. So we leverage all of the top tier, excellent offerings as far as training and information goes. It's just giving folks support, accountability, and guidance as they go through those training materials.
Right on, right on. I'm curious how many people you have on staff as trainers. Like, what's that network look like?
So our staff is predominantly volunteers, and we have a handful or so of contracted workers who assist with training. Total, I would say maybe 10 or so folks who balance it out, and that's the mixture between both our volunteers and our contracted workers.
Right on, right on. So, if we're going to say one thing to our community of listeners out there, and you want them to walk away knowing one thing about Black Girls Hack, what would you tell
We genuinely care about you. And whoever you are, if you are listening to this, you are our demographic. We care about giving people full support and not just getting them into cybersecurity, but keeping them there. Our three tenets are to educate, empower, and prepare. And that is what informs our why as to what we do, what we offer, how we connect. We want to educate and empower and prepare the next generation of cybersecurity professionals. And we want it to be a holistic support, not just in a, hey, take the cert, you have the cert, and now we're done with you. It's a, what are the skills that you need to be successful? Because the tools might change, the needs might change, but the skills that you have to be resilient yourself and continue and grow in the field, that's what we want to help foster. And it's easy to feel overwhelmed or alone when getting started, and then also once entering the field. And so we want to make sure that we provide support for folks to not only be in the field but successful therein, and not just in their day job but also in their life. So Black Girls Hack is a an organization that is for the people, by the people, because we're all volunteers as well, and we're trying to put back out there what either some of us wish we had or what we did have, and we want to make sure that's available for others.
them? Right on. And thank you for being here. Thank you for so much for sharing all this about the organization and your mission, whatnot. We're getting toward the end of the show, and we're getting to that part where we get to know our guests a little bit better. And we
Okay.
always ask our guest 4 questions. And I'll start with my favorite question, honestly, what's your favorite security command line tool or just
Okay.
security tool in
The
general?
security tool in general. I love a quality vulnerability scanner because I feel like it's also, and this might sound hokey, but oh well, it's my thought. I feel like it's so synonymous for life, right? Like we're going about and doing whatever, but we should always take the moment to be proactive and assess for where are my potential weaknesses. What is, going on that I need to either seek remediation on or and then prioritize, hey, this is important, this isn't important, this is what's this might be a threat for a large organization but specific to my environment, this is what matters specifically. So yeah, that would be, I think that would be it. Vulnerability scanner.
So, as someone who's been a hiring manager, what is your go-to question in an interview?
My go-to question is an off the wall one, but I usually ask, if you were a superhero, who would you be and why? And part of the reason I ask that is a lot of people prepare for, and it's not meant to be a gotcha question. It's because anyone can answer it. You don't have to have too much, specific knowledge or what have you. But the reason I ask it is when people prepare for an interview, they'll, look for the standard questions. This is what people ask, la da da. Well, I would like to know how someone will pivot, adjust, and handle something that was unplanned for is one. Two, if they've heard this and then they interview for me, before, and they know that I'm going to ask this question and they still prepare for it. The why is still important to me, because it's pretty telling. I've had one person say that they would be Batman, and their reason was because Batman, you can't control, like for the other superheroes who were born on another planet or something like that, they have superhero capabilities and skills and powers because of something that was out of their control. Batman created the environment that he wanted to live in. You know what I'm saying? He took his knowledge, his resources, and then is now empowering Gotham City. That I think is important because for someone who's working for me, I want to know, are you going to have initiative? Is it, well, I would do this, but, and despite the circumstances that he was given, he still made the best of it and capitalized on it. So anyway, off the wall question, but I've gotten a lot of good responses. Or when I say good, a lot of telling responses. Sometimes the response wasn't good, but it was telling for me. And so it was good for the
Right on, right on.
interview
I think
discussion.
I'd want to be Batman just because he's rich. Like
Yeah,
I think it'd be
that too. Or
intriguing to be
Iron
that.
Man. The reason for Iron Man and Batman are usually pretty similar.
Right on. All right, time to play best advice, worst advice. We always ask everybody what's the best security advice that they are hearing out there or that they're currently given, and then we'll follow it up with the worst security advice you ever heard. So let's start with the good. What's the best security advice you ever heard?
The best is to not don't overlook the simple in search of the complicated. There are so many things that day to day digestible steps that we can do to be secure, and empowering our end users to do to be secure as far as the basic things. Don't use the same password, all the different places, those different things. And I think sometimes we keep looking for the silver bullet or some large complicated thing that we don't do the basic cyber hygiene things, and we take it for granted. So I think that's the best advice. Start where you are and be consistent. Because that's something that anybody can do, not just security professionals. And security, as a lot of our training and things are said, is everyone's responsibility. So I think if we got everyone doing the basic things, we'd be in a much more secure position. So I think that's the best. As far as general security advice, as a security practitioner, the best advice I got was heroism isn't scalable. So don't try to do everything all the time for everyone, because that's a quick way to burn out. And then that can also lead to more issues because when you're tired, you're more likely to make mistakes. So collaborate, work with people.
That is really good advice. The heroism isn't scalable. I've never heard anybody say that before. So thank you
Oh,
for sharing that with our audience.
no problem.
And
And then,
what's the one that drives you nuts? You hear it out there, and it's just the worst advice.
hmm, see, I don't know if what I've heard is the worst advice versus. Okay, so the worst advice that I've heard for folks encouraging people to get into cybersecurity, if that's kind of a play on it, not necessarily, is just do this thing and then you're set. And you can insert whatever thing. For folks who are just now getting started, oh, if you just get your degree, then you'll get a job, you'll do this and the other. Or if you just get this certification or whatever, or on the other side, if you just get this tool, then you're fine. Nothing is ever a just this and then. I feel like there, in all of those different areas that were addressed, one, getting started in your training, it's ongoing, it's continuing education. It's not, okay, I learned this and now I'm done. You have to continue to learn. You have to continue to do to stay abreast of things that are going on and developing. And that's from an entry standpoint. From a tool standpoint, it's not just a, oh, I bought this one fancy tool with whatever letters that marketing or whoever has popularized, and now everything is set. No, you still have to configure. You still have to monitor. You still have to reassess. So I think that's my biggest qualm or contention, is in any area of security, whether it's the training, whether it's in a position of purchasing a tool or whatever, this one thing will fix everything.
Oh, I love that. Because yeah, admittedly, I work for a vendor, and I honestly say, I wish we had a magic wand that could solve all our security problems, but we can help address this area.
Right.
Security's never done. So anyway, all right. Well, thank you very much for being here, being a guest. We always give our guest the final say. So
Mhm.
anything you want to say, plug, tell people where to go get more resources, or put out a call for volunteers, anything you want. The floor is
Sure,
yours.
thank you. You mentioned our website, so blackgirlshack.org. That's available, so please check that out. One, if you're looking for resources and you want to partner with organizations, you just want to be a member, feel free to check out our website. Also, you can follow us on LinkedIn. We post a lot of material there, or Instagram or Twitter if you're on those social media platforms. Then also, we have SquadCon coming up, as I mentioned before. It's this August, the 5th and the 6th. If you are interested in being a speaker, we actually broadened it this year to where last year we did workshops, panels. You can do a speaking, you can speak on the main stage. We also have lightning talks for folks who have, maybe not a 45-minute or 30-minute speech, but they have a solid 15 minutes where they could speak to something that they're passionate about. You can do those. And this year, we're adding pre-recorded lightning talks. So folks who, hey, with a mic and my camera, I can record my session, but I'm not to the point yet where I want to speak in front of people. Then you can submit that as well. And if you have any questions, comments, concerns, or what have you, you can email us at official@blackgirlshack.org.
Awesome. Well, we'll put all that in the show notes below, so you don't have
Perfect.
to sit there and type it out. Well, you can hopefully just click the link. Well, thank you so much for being here again. And again, everybody out there, please like, subscribe, and share, especially this episode, with your peers and your friends out there. And let's help more people learn to hack.
Thank you so much.